Hello Dipanshu, how are you?
हाय हाय हाउ यू बस मैं बढ़िया आप बताओ
Hello Dipanshu, how are you?
हाय आई एम गुड हाउ अबाउट यू
I am fine. So today in our video, we are going to talk about a different topic, a very important topic of sportsmanship in the game of
राइट
cricket. Recently, India-Australia Test series has been concluded. India has won the
राइट
series 2-1. But I think we should also understand the importance of respecting our opponent after winning, also
राइट
seeing the good points, the positive points in the opponent's team. So in this video, we shall be analyzing about what were the positives in Australian team, and there were some controversies also, like sledging, racism, abuse from the crowds. So what were the positive steps taken by Australians in this regard? We
राइट
shall be concentrating on that in this video. What do you think?
राइट yes I think it is one of the issues that we need to address because some of the things that happened during the test series were I would say not as per what people would like to see, but then again there are some things that do get uh,
Yeah,
you know
there are both
opposing.
negatives and positives. So we should concentrate on the positives so that we
Right,
spread a good message around.
right, right.
Understand that we need to spread peace and harmony between two countries, the people of two countries. So
Right,
you
right,
you
right.
wanted to
Because
ask a
eventually,
few things.
right, and because eventually it is a sport, and it's not like if
It's
as if
not a
it's a
war.
war,
Yeah, we
right?
shouldn't be hating
So
our opponent. We
exactly,
should
exactly,
compete with our opponent, but it's a game, it's a sport.
and eventually at the end of the day, in the month of April, they all will be coming together and playing in IPL. So why why to have such bad blood? Right. So, yes, I had a few questions that I needed to put forward to you, and one of the questions that considering everything that has happened during the series and that we read about in the newspapers, one of the things that is, if I given a gist of what I want to ask, is that do you think that has Australia done anything good? I mean, in your view, if you were to say, first
We're
of all, I
talking
mean,
about the
to start off.
players, the
overall
performance of
overall
players.
right, so the performance of players and the hosting
Okay, first of
of
all, we will talk about the performance of Australian players. You would be
right,
surprised to know that even though India won the Test series 2-1, but the
right,
two top wicket takers in this series were from Australia. Pat Cummins took 21 wickets, Hazelwood took 17 wickets, and then there was Mohammad Siraj with 13 wickets. So we need to
okay,
appreciate that the two top wicket takers were from Australia and they bowled all through the series. So they showed their toughness there. Even though Indians also showed their toughness, but we also need to
right,
admire the toughness of their bowlers. And you would be surprised to know that even in the batting department, the two top highest scorers of the series were from Australia. Labuschagne
oh,
scored almost around 424 runs in the series. He was number one.
right,
Then there was
right.
Steve Smith with around 320 runs. And then there was Rishabh Pant with 274 runs. So both in batting and bowling, two top scorers were from Australia. And we need to acknowledge that.
Definitely, I mean, as per your statistics that you have just told, it seems that Australia has outclassed India in both bowling and batting, but at the end of the day, India did manage to win the test series despite
Yeah,
of that.
maybe it's because looking at the team effort, Indian
Right,
team managed to put a team effort, and there were
right,
individual
right,
brilliances from Australian team, which did
right.
really help them in winning the series.
Exactly. Exactly. So that is one thing that I need to ask a question about. That like for India, in the last Test match, if we see that there was a bit of bodyline bowling. So like Pujara was getting the heat from the bowlers, and he was being the toughest person. He was like facing all the bowling, all the body line bowling, chin up. So if you look at the opposition section, if in Australia, which player would you say would have been, or was the toughest one, or was the fittest one for the Australian team?
I would say Pat Cummins was the fittest one because he
Right.
even played the IPL. All through the season, he played IPL. While Mitchell Stark and Josh Hazelwood, they didn't play IPL regularly. And even after playing the whole season of IPL, he bowled all through the series. He took maximum wickets, and he was the man of the series of this Test series. He was the man of the series. So
Right.
I would say, considering his fitness level, that he didn't get injured, he was still fit at the end of the day. I would say he was the toughest from Australian side. We need to acknowledge that he was really fit and
Definitely,
strong.
definitely, and that did show in his overall performance, being the top wicket taker. And since we are talking about him being the top wicket taker, and the top performers and the top run scorers are from Australia, then if the bowling was world class, then the question does arise that why did they lose the series?
Yes, that's a good question. I think Australians are in a phase of rebuilding. The
Right.
factor which was proved to be their weak point, first of all, was the number five position. In the first two matches, they played Travis Head at number five, and then they
Mhm.
dropped him because Warner came, and they decided to put Matthew Wade at number five. So Matthew Wade
Oh,
played all four matches, and he averaged only 18 in the series. So that was a big
right.
letdown. I think that number five batting position was a waste for Australia. They need to find a world class batsman like Smith and Labuschagne for number five position. So that was their weak link. Then, of course, their weak link was their captain, Tim Paine. His keeping
Okay.
was below average. He was dropping catches in every match. And because of that, the effort that which their bowlers were putting, they didn't get the reward. He dropped, I think, almost 15, 16 catches in the series, along with some catches from other fielders. And the captaincy, I would say, the pressure of captaincy was affecting his keeping. He batted well in
Right.
the series, but I don't think he is the right captain for them. Maybe he is not even lucky as a captain, because in captaincy you
Right.
also need luck. And then I would
Exactly.
say that they struggled to find a second opener with Warner.
Right.
And but I think their opener, young opener Will Pukovsky, he seems to have some talent, and maybe with time he will grab that position. So because of these weaknesses, I think Australians couldn't able to put up a good show. They put up a good show, but they couldn't win the series.
Right, but then again, as we are talking about Tim Payne and him being one of the jinx in the team, I would say he also has one of the greatest victories, that is of the Ashes, which they won in England, and that was one of the things that Tim Payne can always brag about, because winning an Ashes series, and that too in England, was something I feel a great positive. But then again, him underperforming in this series, as you just
I
mentioned,
think he
is
performed well as
something.
a batsman, but not as captain and wicketkeeper. As
Right,
wicketkeeper, he was terrible. Even our Pant was
right.
better than him.
And I guess he was more concentrated on distracting the
Yeah,
batsman, as
and he
while being the
himself was
keeper.
getting distracted. His concentration was poor. He wasn't able to take catches.
So, do you think Ashwin's words to Tim Payne will prove to be true?
I think maybe those words will not prove true. Maybe his career as Australian captain or keeper may end even before coming to India.
Right, right,
Because
right, right.
most probably he will be stripped of captaincy now. So
Right,
maybe they will
exactly.
give him a chance as a player. So he need to perform well now as wicketkeeper batsman, but he will
Any
definitely be stripped from captaincy.
any player that you think would be ideal to to take up the mantle of captaincy, if in
Yeah,
case
yeah, of course. Actually, according to me, they should make David Warner the captain
okay,
because they shouldn't be worried. If I see from Australian point of view, they shouldn't be worried about his image because he got
right,
banned or he was accused of cheating. But you need a tough captain. I think he is a good captain. He's a tough captain. He is intelligent and he doesn't come under pressure when captaincy is given to him. So
right.
I see
But
leadership
then again,
skills in him. It's
in
all
David
about the
Warner, right,
image. It's all about the image that if they want to have
exactly,
a gentleman person, a good person as their captain,
right.
or they want to have a strong captain.
But then again, for that, I guess I totally agree with your point. But Cricket Australia will have to break one of their most important rule, which they just formulated when they brought back David Warner, when they said that he will not be open for any captaincy role ever in his career. So that is something
Yeah, yeah,
which
of course. So is there some official rule or they can break it?
yes, that's an official rule which they made for David Warner. They said that he will never be allowed to be a captain for any Australian, even domestic teams, for the whole of his career. And for Steve Smith, it was said that he cannot be captain for 1 year for any team. So,
I wouldn't
which
suggest Steve Smith, but I think
right,
David Warner can be their savior. David Warner can bring them back to their strength in 1 or 2 years.
right, right. And as we are talking about strengths, I think one of the key strengths that the Australian team had, during the series, was that there were no neutral umpires. In the series, due to the COVID conditions, there were Australian umpires. So do you, by any chance, think that the umpires being Australian was a disadvantage to in your, or was there any kind of biasness that went on?
Actually, telling you honestly, I was surprised by the umpiring because I thought their umpiring was very good. They were
Right.
unbiased and honest. Because I had seen Australian umpiring 20 years ago also. I have been watching cricket for past 30 years, since 1990. And during that era, I have seen Australian umpires do cheating. Okay, I'll be honest with that. Whenever India Australian series used to happen, they used to
Right.
give close decisions in favor of Australia. Like there were, if there was LBW appeals, they used to save
Oh,
their own batsmen and give Indian batsmen out. So I was expecting some sort of cheating from their umpires in this series, but I must admit that their umpiring, I was impressed. I think their umpires were honest and unbiased in
right.
this series. They didn't give any, you can say, uh, wrong decisions
Hmm.
intentionally in favor of Australia. If there were some wrong decisions, they that benefited both Indian team and Australian team. So they were
Right.
perfectly
Probably.
neutral in their approach, and I would like to appreciate that.
Right. That is definitely one of the positives that many positives that can come out of this series. Right. But then again, considering the positive environment that was built up by the umpires, trying to keep the everything into balance, one thing that did come to notice for everyone was what happened with Mohammad Siraj near the boundary line and the racial abuse incident. uh, do you think, sometimes some years ago, there was a picture of Virat Kohli as well, wherein he was pointing a finger towards the crowd and he said that the crowd gets on to your nerves. So, do you think that, this kind of phenomena is getting quite regular at Australia, or this thing has changed with time?
Well, regarding this issue, I would say that this was unfortunate. This was wrong from Australian crowd, and
Right.
they shouldn't be doing this. But at the same time, I think a section of people were involved in this, and because of them, we shouldn't start hating all Australian people or complete Australian country. Because if you see, a lot of people also supported Indian team. David Warner personally apologized to Team India on behalf of Australia. and we should admire that.
Exactly.
I read some comments about from Indian viewers that he was apologizing because he wanted to have IPL contract and this thing. No, this is not so. He's a good human being. That's why he apologized. And we also, like true sportsmen, like a true sporting country, should admire them. Similarly, Australian board apologized for this act. They were not
Right.
quick to take action on that day, but later on the next day, they took the necessary action. Security team took the necessary action, and there was
Right.
apology from Australian board. Even their coach Justin Langer, he admitted
Right.
that this was incorrect, and he doesn't support such acts. He's against such racial and abusive comments from crowd. So we should appreciate that a lot of Australians supported us during those time, and not all Australians are involved in this, and we shouldn't create a scene of hatred towards another
Right.
country. We need to understand that there are good people and bad people everywhere. It can happen in
Right.
India
There is also
also,
right.
because
Right.
sometimes Indian crowd also gets hostile. So
Yeah.
necessary steps should be
Exactly.
taken, and we should, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. At least they don't throw stones at the houses of their players when they lose match. but uh, but then again, as we are talking about some of the incidents,
And here I would like
keeping.
to tell you about a recent development. Uh,
Mhm.
just yesterday, I saw a video from a Pakistani channel. Okay, I will even tell
Oh,
you the
okay.
name. The name is something like Cricket Ki Dunia, that name of channel. It has 115,000 subscribers. And I have
Oh,
noticed
that's
just
not
that to get views and create sensation.
right.
They, I feel they create fake news. Like
Mhm.
they posted a whole video that after the loss, uh,
Mhm.
Australians are trying to harass Indians in Australia. There is
What?
racial abuses happening there with Indians living there. So
Uh,
I don't believe them. Why would I believe a Pakistani channel? You see,
right,
even I
right.
would
That's
say that
totally
even to
unnecessary.
Indians,
Right.
you should go for authentic information. If there are any such incidents, Australian
Hmm.
government is there to take necessary action. Indian government is here to take
Right.
necessary action, and we should believe such news from authentic sources like the newspapers, like our own
Right.
TV channels. These are authentic sources,
Exactly.
not some. I would never believe a Pakistani YouTube channel for this news, because they create a atmosphere of hatred and negativity between,
Right.
you
Right.
can say, India and the opposite
Other
country,
countries.
opposition country, Australia here. And
Right. Right.
and
One of their key players, Shoaib Akhtar,
for what? Just
even
because
he
they
said
want
like
to
that.
have more views on their channel. But ours is an
Exactly.
unbiased channel. We will praise Indian team, we will criticize Indian team, and similarly, where Australia is wrong, we will criticize them, and where they need to be appreciated, we will appreciate their players and their attitude also. Ours is an unbiased channel.
Right, right, right. Honesty and quality comes before anything else. I mean, that is something which needs to be valued. And uh, you know, keeping aside and honesty and good values, one of the key aspects that again came up in this series was the sledging by Tim Payne and other players. I mean, do you think was that necessary, or was that really right? I mean, considering that they're trying to watershed their image of their previous image of hostile hosts. So do you
I
think
think
was that right?
regarding the sledging, it's a part of the game, because unless the sledging doesn't go out of limit, that is part of the game. There was no abusive comments or abusive words in the sledging from either of the teams. So it was like they were trying to disturb the concentration of the other team. Even our Rishabh Pant tried those tactics. Okay,
Right.
so I would say that was part of the game, and his sledging, in fact, proved more harmful for his own team because he dropped a lot of catches. So if the sledging goes out of hand, umpires are there to take control. They are not fighting with each other. Even after the match, they were like chatting
Right.
with each other and shaking hands. So it was within limits. It's part of the game. We should take it like that because both the teams were competing hard to win the series. So it can
Right.
happen in the heat of the moment. So as
And then
long
again,
as it doesn't go out of limit, that's fine.
but, then again, the Indian team was quite calm as well, considering that because Kohli had gone home. So, someone who always is angry in the
I
field.
think Kohli
So he
wouldn't
was
have been calm.
right. So, considering that Rahane was the captain, very cool, calm customer. So I think he probably had a new set of orders for the team to behave. Right.
Mhm.
So, as you've just said that the team was, there was a bit of hostility, but then again, that was in good nature. But then again, there was an incident where Steve Smith was caught on camera. He was removing the batting guard of Rishabh Pant. I mean, that is a penalizing act, and I don't know if that was cheating or what.
Yes, yes. Actually, if we see the comments from Steve Smith, Tim Payne, and their batting coach Justin Langer after that, they said that he has a habit of doing this, and it was unintentional. So I would say that I believe their comments. I believe that Steve Smith was not cheating. It was unintentional. Okay, but at the same time, it was against the rules of the game. So he need to understand that his act has come into the picture, and this is against the rules of the game, and he shouldn't repeat this. That if that's his habit, he needs to correct it.
Right.
Otherwise, he will be penalized by umpires and referees. So I trust him. I think he was
that is
not cheating intentionally, but
that is
he
indeed
needs to correct it now.
a very scary habit. Even I read about a few comments from his wife that he has such a knack for batting that when they're on vacation, he goes on to do a bit of shadow batting.
No, yeah, but
She
you can't allow that because if
right.
every player starts doing that, how will it look?
Exactly, exactly. The fielders doing the
He may
batting
not be
and
cheating. I trust he was not cheating, but this is not
right,
allowed.
not allowed.
Not allowed.
Exactly. Right, right. So, something that was not allowed was breaking the, bio bubble, the COVID bubble, and the uh, thing that five of the key Indian players broke before the test match, and even the government of that particular state, they said that they issued a stern warning to the Indian team, and especially to those five players, and they were tested again. So breaking why need to break the COVID protocol, and was the words or what the kind of action that came out from the specific government spokesperson from of Brisbane, was that necessary or was that right?
But I would say this was between the two cricketing boards, and they should have decided it. There was no need for those authorities to speak on this issue or for their health governor to speak on this issue. That was unnecessarily, and that was
Right,
unnecessary. And I would say that the media was just putting fuel into the fire and nothing more
right,
than that.
exactly.
So they shouldn't have spoken. I wouldn't say that they were wrong. They were correct in their views when they said
Hmm,
that Indians had to follow the rules. But first of all, their way of telling was not correct. They were a bit
hmm.
rude. And secondly, I would say that they didn't need to interfere. It
Right,
was
right.
between the cricketing boards,
Both.
Australian Cricket Board and Indian Cricket Board, and they should have solved it internally.
Right.
There was no need for such a drama outside.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. And then now, now that we have discussed most of the issues and many of the questions, we are coming now to one of the lighter part of the conversation. Talking about the great Michael Vaughan and Mark Waugh and the sort of predictions they made and the sort of comments they made. And what do you think about that?
But I would say that it's quite obvious that before the start of a series, most of the cricket analysts they predict about a series. They
Right.
make their guess on the basis of their analysis. So if the when the guess of some cricketers prove wrong, obviously they get trolled. And even I trolled Michael Wong in one of my previous videos. But I would
Right.
say that the series has ended. Michael Vaughan or Mark Waugh are not my enemies. I don't see them as enemies. Enemies. So this thing has ended. I won't be
Right.
trolling them for the rest of my life or for say whole year. It's part of the
We
game.
can we
They
can
were
troll
predicting,
Michael
their
Vaughan.
prediction proved wrong, and even now Michael Vaughan is even praising Indian team, their
Right.
performance. So we should
At the
acknowledge
moment,
that
everyone.
he is also a human being like us, and he is not our enemy.
Right. And I'm guessing that he would be much more active in the month of
This is a
February when
game.
his
This is
own
a
country.
sport. This is sport.
Right.
Even our cricket panelists predict things.
Right. And then again, England is also coming to India. So I am guessing Michael Vaughan will be more active in February. Right. So overall, what would you say? I mean, was the series conducted in good spirit and in the right way and properly by both the teams? And as we have one of the contests in IPL, that is Fair Play Award. So whom would you give the Fair Play Award for this series, like both the teams?
A particular player you are telling?
No, there is an award in IPL which goes on by the name of IPL Fair Play Award.
Well, that will be decided in IPL
Wherein
when the IPL starts. So first of all, I will answer
so,
your
so
earlier question that whether
huh,
the game was played in the right spirit. I would say that the game was played in the right spirit. It was a competitive series. So that's why
hmm,
there was some form of sledging and there was some heated movements. But overall, it was played in the right spirit. Both the teams showed good sportsman spirit. Australian players also showed good
right,
sportsmanship, and even the Indian players. You can see that there were friendly gestures from both the teams when the series ended, and that was not fake.
right.
You were telling me that Ajinkya
Ajinkya
Rahane
Rahane,
gave,
like
yeah. What were you telling?
a signed T-shirt, a signed jersey to Nathan Lyon because the last test, the Brisbane test, was the 100th test of Nathan Lyon. So Ajinkya Rahane had handed over a signed jersey to Nathan Lyon as a good gesture. It was quite praised a lot.
Yes, of course, it was played in a good spirit, but it sometimes happened that on the social media to create sensation, so much negative stuff is put out that people starts believing that there is a
Right,
lot of animosity between the two teams, between the two countries, which is not the case. The
right,
game
right.
was played, this series was played in good spirit, and I appreciate good sportsmanship of Australians
Right.
and also Indians.
Well, that is a very good thing. I mean, coming after an Australian tour, the game being called as good spirit. So I liked it, and and I also feel sometimes that as Indian fans, we go to certain extremes. So we should be a bit neutral. I've seen in your channel and your predictions as well that you are very neutral and practical when you're making your predictions. So that is something which I say that most of the fans should do.
Yes, when I analyze the game, although I'm an Indian,
Right,
I would like India to win in every match. But
right,
when I analyze the game, I don't analyze as an Indian because in that case, I will become biased. Okay, I
right, right,
analyze as a cricket analyst, as a neutral person, just like an umpire would do. Okay,
right,
otherwise, if say I am an Indian umpire and I am officiating in an Indian match, if I
right,
start thinking like an Indian, I will start giving decisions in favor of Indian team. But that will be wrong. That will be dishonesty. Okay, so we have
right,
to be honest. Even now, if I am operating my channel of cricket analysis, I have to be honest, and then I have to analyze in a neutral manner and
right.
see
So
the
we'll have to
positives and negatives of both the team, both my team and the opposition team.
we'll have to be neutral like the Australian umpires in this series.
And seeing things from neutral perspective, I would say that I could see a lot of positive things also in the Australian team. Their effort, they
Right,
also worked really hard in this series,
right. And they
even though
deserve the
the
praise. I
game.
mean, nobody's talking about them. Everybody's talking about the Indian team. I mean, it's not that the Indian team played themselves. They played a very good international team, and people should talk about
Yeah, of
the
course,
efforts
India
that were
played
put in.
well, but Australia also played well. They also tried
Right,
hard. They also played the
exactly.
game in right spirit, and we, as a genuine Indian channel, appreciate their effort.
Right, and for a change, as we were talking earlier, that there was a approach, there was a different approach seen in this Australian side. Like in the earlier teams, there was quite a lot of animosity, and they were quite animated
Quite,
characters in
quite
those teams.
arrogance
So,
also, but
right, right. So,
not
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 this
in
time.
this Australian team. I would say they were
Right,
quite good.
right, right, right. So that's that's uh, that's a lot good, and that answers all of my questions that I had for against this about the series.
Would you like to say anything specific in the end, or ask anything else, or say anything, or should we end our discussion?
Yeah, that's about it. I would say that India should just keep their feet on the ground as England is approaching. So they
Yeah,
should
of
not
course.
get overconfident.
We have defeated Australia 2-1 on their home soil, but it doesn't mean that we should become arrogant.
Right,
We
exactly.
should remain modest in our victory. That is the
Right,
hallmark of a true champion, like I would say Sachin Tendulkar. He was the
right,
best sportsman, a real idol one should idolize. So you can see
exactly.
he was such a great champion. He scored so many runs. He has got so many records, but he was still so humble, so modest.
Right, exactly, exactly,
So
exactly.
we, along with appreciating our own team, we should also appreciate the opposition team, and we should also
Right,
respect the good performances from their team.
right. So one thumbs up goes on for the Indian team, and the other one goes on for the Australian team.
For both the teams, India and Australia.
Both the teams.
Well played, both India and Australia, for giving us a good test series.
Right. Congratulations to
Okay.
both.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Deepu. Okay, to
All
our
right.
viewers, both from India and Australia. Bye to all.
Have a enjoy. Bye bye.